this segment, we're going to show you one of the common and easy repairs that you can do to make your brakes continue to function properly. On most brakes, there's what's called cable and housing, where there's a metal cable that runs inside the housing, and that allows the actuation of the brake. So sometimes what happens, especially in commuting in Colorado winters, what you need to do every so often to ensure that the brake cable moves properly inside the housing is you can use a little bit of tri-flow and drip it down inside the housing, and what the tri-flow does is it breaks up any sort of corrosion that is inside of the housing, so to allow for a smoother actuation of the brake. In this segment, we're going to be discussing another brake issue which you may come across. In this case here, the brake pad is touching the tire, and back here it is hanging off the brake track. We want this to be as in line with the brake track as possible. So to do that, we're going to take our 5mm hex key. You just want to loosen that up a bit. So now the pad is free floating. So I want to use my right hand, keep that as aligned as possible. I'm going to use this, and now what you want to be careful of is you want to hold the end so it doesn't hit the tire, and you just want to tighten up that bolt. So now give it a spin. Now the pad is aligned on the braking track. Another common brake problem is spring tension. We will be showing you how to increase the spring tension to avoid brake rubbing. So this bike, as you can hear, is rubbing against, the pad is rubbing against the brake track. That is because this spring on this side has more tension than the spring on this side. Where's the spring, you might ask? It is right here. So we're going to place that back in there. So what we want to use our Phillips head screwdriver and turning the screw to the right, which will increase the tension on this spring, which will move the brake pad away from the braking surface and will stop the rubbing. Now, giving the wheel a spin, we can see that the pad is no longer rubbing on the braking surface. Another important adjustment you may need to make to your brakes is adjusting cable tension. You can do this by using a 5mm hex. Setting cable tension can be a trial and error process. You may need to either tighten the cable or loosen the cable depending on how the lever feels. If the lever is squishy, you will need to go back and tighten up the cable. For this video, a new cable was used, but the process is the same for existing older cables. In this segment, we're going to be showing what the barrel adjuster does for brakes. So what will happen is over time, your brake pads will wear, increasing the distance that the pads need to travel to the rim, but then also the cables can stretch. So there's not a lot of braking force here. The lever is able to go all the way to the handle. So if you need to, you thread out the barrel adjuster, but not too far, and then screw back on the lock ring. And then now you have more braking power because the slack has been taken out of the cable. The barrel adjuster should really only be used for minute or on-the-fly adjustments. The best way to adjust cable tension is to not use the barrel adjuster, but to use the method in the previous segment where you use the hex tool.